Hi guys, it's Jess from Honest Fiction, and welcome to the start of a reading vlog. So it has been a hot minute since I've done a reading vlog, honestly just because they don't do very well on my channel, so I haven't been doing them. However, my friend Beccie reached out and asked if we could do a TBR Takeover. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Beccie from Beccie Reads, first off, please check her channel out. I'm going to have it linked down in the description below. She deserves so much more love. She is one of the most consistent content creators I know. She's also one of the nicest people in the bookish community. She's always running different collaborations, and she does not care about your sub count. She will invite anyone to join, and I've gotten some really good book recs from her. Now, the thing is with me and Beccie, although we read a lot of similar books, we have crazy different opinions on said books. So it seems to be whatever book she really loves, I end up either DNFing or not loving, and same with her. The books I adore, normally she's not the biggest fan of. So we were talking when we were both at a Polycon, and we were saying how we should do a vlog where we try to find books to pick out for each other that we think the other will enjoy. I am terrified to watch Beccie's vlog back because I don't know how well I did. I hope I did okay, but I know I'm kind of worried. So anyway, after you watch this vlog, definitely check out Beccie's vlog. But I am going to do something that I think it was Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life. We did a TBR Takeover vlog together, and she actually went down the list of all the books I had picked for her and explained why she chose the one she did. And I thought that was really interesting and a good way to kind of explain like the reasoning why I picked the books I picked. Now, the only downside of this is I only know one book I want to read. I still haven't figured out my second one. I'm leaning towards 2, but let's get into it. I think she sent me 6 books. The first one is Fortune Favors the Cruel, and this is by Kel Carpenter. And I don't think I'm going to be reading this one only because I have been reading a ton of books that seem to have almost a similar format. I just finished reading Trial of the Sun Queen, and some of this is kind of feeling reminiscent, so I just want to try something completely different. So I knew off the bat I didn't want to do Fortune Favors the Cruel, but I do want to pick that book up eventually because I do actually think I will enjoy it. Sorry, Beccie. The other one she picked was One Dark Window, which I actually did read. It's a gothic YA fantasy. It's by Rachel Gillig. It came out a couple years ago. I actually have a reading vlog of me reading it for the first time, and I gave it 3.75 stars. I did really enjoy it. So that would have been a good pick, but I did already read it. So the other one is The Teeth in the Tide by Rebecca F. Kenny. I was going to pick this book. I read the synopsis. It sounded so good. I actually forget what it is about, but I'll look it up right now. Since this is a reading vlog, I feel like I don't have to be quite as polished, right?
So, let's see. I will speed this up in post. The Teeth in the Tide. I hate Goodreads because if you spell just one word wrong, it won't find it. So I've been using Amazon. I feel like that just works like a little bit better to try and find synopsis. Okay, so this is...
Oh my gosh, it's pitched as Attack on Titan with mermaids. So honestly, I love the anime Attack on Titan, so I probably would have loved this. There is no audiobook available, or else 100% I would have read this one because it sounds really good. So if an audiobook does eventually release, I will 100% pick that book up. Okay, so this is where I am not really sure. So next up is Where the Dark Stands Still. And I actually had this book on my most anticipated releases of 2024. It is a gothic, I believe it's a YA fantasy, and the cover is absolutely stunning. The thing is, I heard a lot of mixed reviews, and I've had a few of my subscribers message me and say that they thought it was okay, but they didn't think I would probably enjoy it, knowing my reading taste. So I'm a little bit hesitant, but also it seems perfect to kind of like when we're transitioning into that fall time. I feel like it'd be a really good book to recommend. So I might do that one. That's a possibility. Next up is Shadow Kissed by Rebecca L. Garcia. That one I am 100% reading. It is a vampire, new adult, I believe, or adult fantasy romance, and it sounds really good. I love vampires, and that's another book that I think will be perfect for transitioning into fall. If I really enjoy the series, I can keep reading it, so that'll be good. And then last up is Heart of Fire by McMaster, and this is a dragon shifter book, fantasy romance. So I don't know if it's new adult or adult, but that one also kind of seems interesting. The cover is a little bit cringy. I don't love half-naked guys on covers unless it's Dean from The Bully. I think that's the only book that I like really enjoy those types of covers. So I might do that one because I'm really feeling dragons. My husband and I are currently rereading Fourth Wing. He's reading it for the first time. I'm reading it with him. And there's something fun that's going to be going on with that. So I'm in a dragon type mood, so that's another possibility. So definitely going to be reading Shadow Kiss first, and then I'm going to decide between Heart of Fire and Where the Dark Stands Still. So I will check in with you guys after I have started reading. Hi guys, so it is currently Friday. I was supposed to go to the beach today. Unfortunately, the weather did not cooperate and it is raining and just really gloomy. So I'm actually gonna go meet up with one of my friends for lunch. And this has been one of my friends since kindergarten. We have somehow managed to always live within like driving distance of each other. So we stayed pretty close. And I haven't seen her in about a year and a half. So I'm really, really excited. But I do have a little bit of time to kill, so I have been reading. And I also stopped at Dunkin' because I needed caffeine. Unfortunately, I do not pass a Starbucks on my way to where I have to go. That is definitely my preferred coffee of choice. But I got the s'mores cold brew with 2 extra shots of espresso because I am a caffeine addict. It's really unhealthy. But anyway, I am 2 chapters into Shadow Kissed. Now, I will say, I actually thought I was further because a lot goes down in those first 2 chapters. And so far, I have to look to see when this was written because it's kind of giving me, I don't want to say Vampire Academy feels, but you know that, like, time period where there were so many, like, dystopian vampire new adult books? It definitely kind of has that vibe. And when I first started this, I almost thought it might be a companion series to another series because they really don't give you a lot of explanation up to like what's going on in this world. All we know is that vampires are bad and our main character is like a sorcerer slash witch, and if she's found by the vampires they will take her and like use her, so she's being protected and kind of isolated by this like soldier group that protects humanity against the vampires, and like that's all we really know. But I don't know, I was expecting a little bit more in terms of like not the politics, like a little bit more world building. And this definitely seems more of a book that we're just going to get dropped into and kind of have to figure things out. But yeah, I definitely thought it was a companion novel at first because I was like, am I supposed to know what's going on here? But yeah, so far I am liking it. Hopefully this will be a 4 or 5 star read. I feel like out of the 2, there has to be one that I really enjoy. I trust Beccie. She knows what I like to read. So I'm excited. She did message me that she finished her 2 books already. I'm really late to reading mine. And she said that I will be surprised by her vlog. And I don't know if it's a good way or a bad way. So we will see. But anyway, I'm gonna drink my coffee and go ahead and meet my friend. And then I will check in with you guys after I've read a little bit more. All right, guys. So I am still on my way to go see my friend. I literally filmed that clip, put the book back on, and there was a character that just gave all of the explanation to what is going on in this world. So had I just been a little bit more patient, I would have saved myself being really confused. But anyway, I just wanted to say this before I forget. I really like the fact that this is like one of your classic vampire stories. And normally there's like a lot of secrecy surrounding vampires, like you don't want the humans to know. But one of the characters in this book, I won't say who because I don't want to spoil anything, but they explained that they didn't want humans to know because all of these humans, if they knew they could turn into vampires, would just all be turning themselves into vampires, which I feel like is actually accurate. Because, I don't know, if I had the opportunity to become immortal and have like all the perks that go along with being a vampire, minus the blood drinking, which like kind of stinks, but if like I could do that without hurting other people, like it was donated blood or something, I would so go for that opportunity, and I feel like a lot of people would. So I feel like that's true, and I kind of like that because I feel like normally they're just like, oh, we have to keep it a secret, but they don't exactly explain like why. But yeah, there probably would be thousands of people just trying to turn themselves into vampires if they knew that was an option. So I enjoyed that. But anyway, I am almost at this diner, so I will check in with you guys a little bit later. Hi guys, so it is currently Saturday. I'm looking a little rough. I'm about to get ready to go to a play in Princeton with my cousin and her husband, and also my husband. We're doing like a double date. But I am super excited because we're seeing The Last 5 Years, and it is one of my absolute favorite musicals. I've seen that movie with Anna Kendrick and then Jamie Jordan at least 30 times. So I'm so pumped. But anyway, I had a bit of a lazy morning and I ended up listening to almost all of the first book. So I figured I had to do an update because I want to talk to you guys while it's still fresh in my memory. But so far, while I am enjoying this, definitely liking it more than I thought I was going to when I first started. And I can tell it's going to be probably a longer series. I didn't look at how many books were in the series when I started, but like I said, I only have about 45 minutes left of the audiobook, and there is so much left unanswered. So I'm thinking this is probably like a 4 or 5 book series. It definitely feels new adult. So I will say that. Also, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but the overall premise is we're following this girl. Like I said before, I actually forget what I said in my other clip, but she's a girl that's a sorcerer that's living amongst humans, and she's being protected from vampires by this like order of people that know about vampires and protect sorcerers from them. So anyway, vampires end up breaking in like really early on in chapter 1, and they kidnap her mother, who's also a sorcerer, and then she ends up being taken. So she's taken to this like vampire, not world, because it's not like multiverse, but this vampire area, and she finds out that there's this big secret that her mother kept from her, and she's essentially trying to get her friends back with the help of Sebastian, the vampire that stole her and seems to want to use her for something that we now know what it is, but for most of this book, we had no idea. So anyway, fast-paced plot. Like, it hooks you right away. Like I said, I've read pretty much this entire book just this morning. It definitely keeps you engaged. There is a little bit of spice, but also I just wanted a little bit more. I keep saying world building, and I feel like that's not even the word. I just wanted a little bit more from everything. Like, I want a little bit more character development. I want a little bit more of like what's going on in terms of the vampires, and there's all of these different royals, and I feel like we're just given this information so quickly, and I don't know. So like that's the only thing that's keeping this from being like a 5-star read, because I like the romance, I like the friendships. It definitely has that like found family aspect. So this first book will probably end up being a 4-star depending on how it ends, and I definitely will be picking up the sequel also depending on the ending, so I shouldn't say definitely, but I'm interested to see what happens with these characters. So I would say 4-star read. I just wish we got a little bit more. I think it's the writing style maybe. It feels younger for some reason. I don't know why it is, because it has a lot of darker elements, and I can't pinpoint why I'm feeling that. It's just reminding me of those like dystopian books we used to read, like Hunger Games and all of that. Like, it feels like it came out during that time. But once again, not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. I am really enjoying it. So I will check in with you guys after I've finished this book, probably started my next book, and I will hopefully have some B-roll of going to the musical and going out to dinner in Princeton, because it is a gorgeous day, and I feel like we're probably going to want to like walk around and stuff like that. But anyway, I will see you guys a little bit later. Good morning, or whatever time it is when you are watching this vlog. It is currently 6:04 in the morning. I am on my way to work. I'm actually on my way to get some very much needed caffeine, but then I will be on my way to work. Also, I picked this outfit out last night and I put it on this morning. I thought it looked cute. I'm having serious outfit regret. Luckily, I'm not at work for a very long time, so it's not a big deal. I only work like 4 hours a day during the summer, which is super, super nice. I just wish it didn't start quite so early. But anyway, I started the Dragon Shifter book. I completely forget the name of it, so I'm just going to keep referring to it as the Dragon Shifter book. But without any spoilers, the premise is essentially there's this community and they give a tithe to these dragons, and that way the dragons will leave them alone and like not attack them. Well, the community has been very late giving their most recent offering, so this dragon takes it upon themselves to steal I think it's like a ram or a goat from this girl, and she really needs it. So she goes to get the goat back. Turns out the dragon has already eaten the goat. However, he is very intrigued by this girl who happens to have these very interesting eyes. So there's been hints that she might possess some sort of power. And yeah, so far it's giving historical romance, and I don't know why that is. It might have something to do with the fact this feels much more, it feels like the romance is really at the heart of this, where the vampire book, there was like a lot of other stuff going on. So it's not like, I'm not saying this book is super spicy or anything, it's just, I can tell most of this book is gonna be this dragon shifter and this girl like falling in love and their romance, which I'm not mad about. So I'm very excited to continue. I do have to finish this book today because I was just talking to Beccie, and I think we're gonna try to post this video on Sunday, this coming Sunday. So I have a lot of editing to do, so I need to get this book done. So hopefully after work, I will get a decent chunk, if not all of it read, and I will check in with you guys then. All right, guys, welcome to the end of the vlog. I feel like I didn't do a great job vlogging Heart of Fire, but I have so many thoughts. I ended up pretty much binging that book, and it's been a few days, and honestly, I think that's pretty good because I've really had a chance to collect my thoughts on both books, and I feel like I'm gonna change my mind a little bit on my ratings. So first up, let's talk about Heart of Fire. I haven't watched my clip back, which is such a mistake, so I forget exactly what I said about this book, but we are essentially following, I think I already said this, so I'm gonna skip that, but we're following this Dreckie, and they, like I said, the Dreckie is like a type of dragon that has stolen a ram from this girl. The girl goes to get the ram back, and the Dreckie is like, ooh, I kind of like you. You're feisty and you have some really cool eyes. Like, let's talk. And she's not about it. So she ends up leaving. And then soon after that, there's this very handsome stranger that just ends up showing up in this very small town and is like, hey, I really like you. So that's kind of how we figure out that there is the dragon or Dreckie is able to turn into a shifter and shift into a human. So it is really their romance. And I will say I was shocked to see this was actually published in 2017 because, like I kept saying, it really reminded me for some reason of a historical romance. Don't know why, it really just gave me that vibe. And I will say the narrator, I think she did a great job. I actually really liked her narration. It was just her voice and accent for the dragon really took me out. And I feel like had I read this and not listened to the audio, I might have rated it a little bit higher just because like the intimate parts and like the parts that you're supposed to kind of be swooning, I couldn't get over the accent she was using for the dragon. But I understand. It's probably very hard to come up with an accent that doesn't sound like any other accent. Like it's supposed to be completely original. But anyway, overall, while I did enjoy the romance in this, and I enjoyed a lot of different elements, I feel like I wanted a lot more in terms of the world to where it really felt more like Viking heavy. I kept comparing it to Stolen by the Wolves, which is an Omegaverse romance, and honestly, nothing like this other than they both are kind of set in Viking times, but I feel like that book just did so much in terms of world building and setting up what life was like back then. And this book was really this romance and kind of like the politics of the different Dreckie and things like that. And I will say it was really, really enjoyable while I was reading it. I just am pretty sure I'm not going to continue with the series. So I think I'm going to end up rating it a 3-star because I did really like it while I was reading it. It's just if I don't feel the urge to continue with the series, then I probably didn't enjoy it as much as like I would like to. But still, 3-star is pretty good and I did not have a bad time with it. I never would have DNF'd it. Like it was enjoyable and it is a very short read. So if you like Dragon Shifter books and you're like Vikings and like that type of setting, highly recommend checking this out and giving it a try. And I will say I had never heard of this book until Beccie recommended it. So thank you so much. I will try to read more from this author. And yeah, I had a good time with it. Now, I am changing my mind on Shadow Kiss, and that is because I keep thinking about this book and I want to know what happens. So I will 100% be continuing with this series. And honestly, I think I might up this rating to a 4 just because I really liked the characters. I laughed out loud a few times. There's really good banter. I'm a sucker for vampires. Like, it is very rare I don't enjoy a vampire book. So I really did have a good time with this. Now, once again, I was positive this book ended up being published back around like Twilight and during that time. This book came out in 2022. So I was so wrong. And honestly, I know that this doesn't make a lot of sense, but it kind of makes me like this book a little bit more just because it was so reminiscent and had so many of those tropes from like that time. And it did kind of make me feel like that, but also kind of like an updated version. So I'm very happy about reading this book, and I did really end up enjoying it. So 4 stars, Beccie, you picked a winner. I really, really liked this, and I can't wait to continue. Like you can see, I already bought the physical copy. I already purchased the second book in the series, so I will definitely be reading this in the fall. So thank you so much, Beccie. I am so nervous to go back and watch her reading vlog. I really hope she enjoyed the books I picked for her. It should be a fun time either way watching it. So please check out our video now that you've finished watching this one. And that is pretty much the end of this vlog. So thank you guys so much for staying around, and let me know if there are any other types of vlogs you guys would like to see. Honestly, I have so much fun editing vlogs and I like making them. It's just they don't do very well view-wise. So I kind of stopped doing them, but I'm more than willing to do them if you guys want to see something in particular. And I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Paladin protectors, Amanda, Erin, Leslie, and Kat. Thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. And I said this already, I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. I will see you all next week. Bye.